So, we're picking up where we left off, and we were on Genesis 6. Then the people began to multiply on the earth, and the daughters were born to them. And the sons of God saw beautiful women, and took any they wanted as their wives. Then the Lord said, My spirit will not put up with humans for such a long time, for they are only mortal flesh. In the future, their normal lifespan will be no more than 120 years. In those days, and for some time after, Nephilites lived on earth. For whenever the sons of God had intercourse with women, they gave birth to children who became heroes and famous warriors of ancient times. The Lord observed the extent of human wickedness on the earth, and he saw that everything they thought or imagined was continuously evil. So the Lord was sorry that he had ever made them and put them on the earth. It broke his heart. And the Lord said, I will wipe out this human race. I will create that. I'll wipe out this human race I have created from the face of this earth. Yes, I will destroy every living thing, all the people, all the large animals, the small animals that scurry along the ground, and even the birds of the sky. I am sorry I ever made them. But Noah found favor with the Lord. This is the account of Noah and his family. Noah was a righteous man, the only blameless person living on earth at the time, and he walked in close fellowship with God. Noah was the father of 3 sons, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. Now God saw that the earth had become corrupt, and it was filled with violence. God observed all this corruption in the world, for everyone on earth was corrupt. So God said to Noah, I have decided to destroy all living creatures, for they have filled the earth with violence. Yes, I will wipe them all out, along with the earth. Build a large boat with cypress wood and waterproof it with tar inside and out. Then construct decks and stalls throughout the interior. Make the boat 350 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 45 feet high, leaving an 18-inch opening below the roof all the way around the boat. Put the door on the side and build 3 decks inside the boat, lower, middle, and upper. Look, I am about to cover the earth with a flood that will destroy every living thing that breathes. Everything on earth will die, but I will confirm my covenant with you. So enter the boat, you and your wife and your sons and their wives. Bring a pair of each kind of animal, male and female, into the boat with you to keep them alive during the flood. Pairs of every kind of bird and every kind of animal, and every kind of small animal that scurries along the ground. I will come to you. Will come to you, be kept alive, and I will come to you to be kept alive. And be sure to take on board enough food for your family and for all the animals. So Noah did exactly as God had commanded him. Now we are going to Genesis 7. When everything was ready, the Lord said to Noah, Go into the boat with all your family, for among all the people on the earth, family. For among all the people on the earth, I can see that you alone are righteous. Take with you 7 pairs of male and female of each animal I have approved for eating and for sacrifice, and take one pair of each one of the other. Also take 7 pairs of every kind of bird. They must be male and female in each pair to ensure that all the life will survive from the earth's flood. 7 days from now, I will make rain pour down upon the earth, and it will rain 40 days and 40 nights until I have wiped from the face of the earth all living things I have created. So Noah did everything as the Lord commanded him. Noah was 600 years old when the flood covered the earth. He went on the boat and to escape the flood. Him, his wife, and his sons and their wives with them. All were all the various kinds of animals, those approved for eating and for sacrifice, and those that were not, along with the birds and all the small animals that scurried along the ground. they entered into the boat in pairs, male and female, just as God had commanded Noah. After 7 days, the waters from the flood began to cover the earth. When Noah was 600 years old, on the 17th day of the second month, all of the underground waters erupted from the earth, and the rain fell and the mighty torrents from the sky, and the rain continued to fall for 40 days and 40 nights. That very day, Noah had gone into the boat, and his wife, his sons, and his family, Ham, Shem, and Japheth, and their wives. With them in the boat were pairs of each kind of animal, domestic and wild, large and small, along with the birds of every kind. 2 by 2 they came into the boat, representing every living thing that breathes, a male and a female. A male and a female of each kind entered, just as God commanded Noah. Then the Lord closed the door behind them. For 40 days and 40 nights, the flood waters grew deeper, covering the ground, and lifted the boat high above the earth. As the water arose higher and higher, and the ground and the boat floated safely on the surface. Finally, the water covered the highest mountain on the earth, rising more than 22 feet above the highest peaks. All the living things on earth died: birds, domestic animals, wild animals, small animals that scurried along the ground, and all of the people, everything that breathed and lived on dry land died. God wiped out everything on the earth: people, livestock, small animals that scurried along the ground, birds, and all the birds of the sky were destroyed. The only people who survived were Noah and those with him on the boat, and the flood waters covered the earth for 150 days. And we are going into Noah 8. But God remembered Noah and all the wild animals and the livestock with him in the boat. He sent out a wind to blow across the earth, and the flood waters began to recede. The underground waters stopped flowing, and the tormenting rains from the sky were stopped. So the flood waters gradually receded from the earth. After 150 days, exactly 5 months from the time the flood began, the boat came to a rest on a mountain of Arad. 2.5 months later, as the water continued to go down, the other mountain peaks became visible. After another 40 days, Noah opened the window he had made in the boat, and released a raven. The bird flew back and forth until the flood waters on the earth had dried up. He also released a dove to see if the waters had receded, and it couldn't find dry ground. But the dove couldn't find a place to land because the waters were still covering the ground. So it returned to the boat, and Noah held out his hand and drew the dove back inside. After waiting 7 more days, Noah released the dove again. This time the dove returned to him in the evening with a fresh olive leaf in its beak. Then Noah knew that the flood waters were almost gone. He waited another 7 days and released the dove again. This time the dove did not come back. Noah was 601 years old on the first day of the new year. 10.5 months after the flood began, the flood waters had almost dried up from the earth. And Noah lifted back the cover of the boat and saw the surface of the ground was dry. 2 more months went by, and at last the earth was dry. Then God said to Noah, "Leave the boat, all of you, you and your wives and your sons and their wives. Release all of the animals and the birds and the livestock, the small animals and the ones that scurry along the ground, so they can be fruitful and multiply throughout the earth." So Noah, his wife, and his sons and their wives left the boat, and all of the large and small animals came out of the boat, pair by pair. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord, and there he sacrificed as a burnt offering the animals and the birds that had been approved for the purpose, for sacrifice. And the Lord was pleased with the aroma of the sacrifice, and he said to himself, "I will never again curse the ground because of the human race, even though everything that they think is bent towards evil from childhood, I will never again destroy all living things. As long as the earth remains, there will be planting and harvesting, cold and heat, summer and winter, night, day and night. Now we're going into Genesis 9. Then God blessed Noah and his sons and told them, "Be fruitful and multiply. Fill the earth. All of the animals of the earth, all of the birds of the sky, all of the small animals that scurry along the ground, and all of the fish in the sea will look to you with fear and terror. I have placed them in your power. I have given them to you for food, just as I have given the grains and vegetables. But you must never eat any meat that still has the blood of life in it. And I will require the blood of anyone who takes another person's life. If a wild animal kills a person, it must die, and anyone who murders a fellow human must die. If anyone takes a human's life, that person's life will also be taken by a human's hands. For God made human beings in his own image. Now be fruitful and multiply and repopulate the earth." Then God told Noah and his sons, "I hereby confirm my covenant with you and your descendants, and with all the animals that were on the boat with you, the birds, the livestock, and all the wild animals, and every living creature on the earth. Yes, I am confirming my covenant with you. Never again will flood waters kill all living creatures. Never again will flood waters destroy the earth." Then God said, "I am giving you the sign of my covenant with you and with all the living creatures from all generations to come. I have placed my rainbow in the clouds. It is a sign of my covenant with you and with all the earth. When I send a cloud over the earth, the rainbow will appear in the clouds, and I will remember my covenant with you and all the living creatures. Never again will flood waters destroy all life. When I see the rainbow in the clouds, I will remember my eternal covenant between God and every living creature on the earth." Then God said to Noah, "Yes, this rainbow is a sign of my covenant I am confirming with you and all the creatures on earth." And we are going to stop there, and that is at Genesis 9. Let me see, 9. No. Genesis 9:16, I believe. To make sure, because I want to make sure we pick back up where we left off at. Yeah, so we're stopping at Genesis 9:17, and we'll pick up tomorrow from there. All right, thanks. God bless.